Monday, December 19th. It's the only bowl game on Monday, December 19th. It's the Myrtle Beach Bowl, home of the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers, Conway, South Carolina, UConn, and Marshall. Marshall 10.5 point favorites, 40 the total. I'll tell you what, of all the early bowl games we've talked about, all of them so far, this is one of the stronger opinions I've got, like with conviction, where I know I like this side. I know I'm going to be betting this side right here, right now. And that's taking the points with UConn. I know this team's going to be fired up for this. You know, they wanted to be in a bowl game. They played like it down the stretch. It was already a positive step in the right direction first season for Jim Mora Jr. As head coach of the UConn Huskies. And I think this team's going to play like it on the football field. You talk about motivation, want to go out there and show out and play well. I think you're going to get that from UConn. And it's a UConn team that, again, for the most part down the stretch, this is a team that played really good football, competitive football. Defense not perfect, but they got better, as the season progressed. They got Zion Turner back at the quarterback spot, and we saw that offense start to pick things up. So for this UConn team to be 6-6, it was a very impressive feat. They had a rough finish to the season against Army. It's always a tricky matchup when you're trying to prepare on the fly for the triple option. But no, I like what I saw from this UConn team. Other than the Army result, this was a good team in the underdog role, especially when getting double digits down the stretch. And look, they finished the season 7-1 against the spread in their last 8 games down the stretch. As for Marshall, we've got a team that really for most of the season struggled offensively. They did start to get some offensive life back in their system late in the season. They put up 23, 28, 28 the last 3 games. Some of those defenses are weak. App State's defense kind of folded down the stretch. Georgia Southern defense was hit or miss, and Georgia State's defense certainly wasn't very good all season long. So definitely some concerns there that, Marshall offensively picked it up with Fancher at quarterback, but it's not like they played a bunch of great defenses either down the stretch. As far as UConn goes, you look at their offense here. Marshall's defense is pretty solid. And will UConn be able to move the football enough against them is the question. But I think when you look at this Marshall Thundering Herd team, very one-dimensional, run the football. They don't have much of a passing game. You give UConn this opportunity to prepare something for a team that's, I think, very dubious as double-digit favorites. We've seen Marshall, Conor Mack, double-digit favorites this season, I believe, on 3 different occasions. No, I'm looking at it now. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times this year, Marshall has been a double-digit favorite. The only cover was against Norfolk State as a double-digit favorite. They were double-digit chalk at Bowling Green, 17-point favorites. They lost the game outright. They were 31-point favorites against Gardner-Webb. They did not cover there, 28-7. And they were 10.5-point favorites against UL Lafayette, and the Cajuns beat them outright in that game. This has not been a good double-digit favorite. Now asking them to lay double digits against a fired-up UConn team, and I think they will be for this game. I like the Huskies plus the points. Conor Mack, Myrtle Beach Bowl.
So do I. This is just, if you're betting Marshall, laying these points, it just hasn't been profitable. I don't know what's going to change here in this bowl game. How motivated will this Marshall team be? 2 good defenses. Marshall, really, really good. I thought UConn's been good. That's why the disrespect. We see this low total at 40, and we're getting over 10 points, with UConn here. We know UConn struggles to score, but all these defensive numbers just outside the 50 mark, usually that's right where UConn, a lot of these numbers are for them. So I think they stay in this game. I just don't see a Marshall team really running it up when I was going through this last night. I just need UConn. You know what's been big with them? A turnover or a punt return. Like, they might need that here to stay in this game, but I think they can do it. I think they'll be pumped up. And you mentioned Moore. I think he's done a good job to take how bad this football program was the last couple of years, to go to a bowl game. They should be hyped, like you mentioned. So this was a play on that I had circled too last night. So I like the points here with Huskies.